advantage. Not only is it possible and necessary, and it's you to live your dream, to make this greatness that you have within you become a reality, but what I've come to appreciate when you're working on changing your life, changing some bad habit, getting out of addictive situations or relationships, or working to build a dream or making a difference in our society, or learning something that's very challenging. Here's what I realize, ladies and gentlemen, and develop a great deal of respect for. It's hard. Easy is not an option. It's hard living. Life is hard. See, it's hard when you're 49 years old, been working on a job for 17 years, and they come in and tell you you're finished and give you 1 week severance pay. And you got to start all over again. It's hard when you're married and raising children and your children are crawling and your husband dies unexpectedly. It's hard handling just the tragedies of life. It's hard when you're working on something and you put everything you have in it and it doesn't work out. You lose your money and other people's money. It's hard. It was rough when I lost my job and I could not find a job. It was humiliating and embarrassing, borrowing money, and then I couldn't pay the money back when I told them I would. That's rough. How people look at you, how they respond to you. It's very hard. It's humiliating. Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it, and you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. Have you ever happened to you? Raise your hand. Has it ever happened to you that I couldn't understand it then, but after I got through it, then I saw that that was preparing me for bigger and better things. That as you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do, do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender and say, okay, all right, I cooperate, okay, I learned, okay. They had to wear me out a long time. So if it's hard, then do it hard. Now, how do you hang in there during the hard, difficult times? Les, you must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That it's not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away. I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? You've been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see ain't nothing showing. You know that's how people are gonna do you. So how long you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dreams and you have nothing to show? This is all you got to show? People are going to do that to you. And some people, ladies and gentlemen, they stop because they don't see instant results. It doesn't happen quickly. They stop. Oh, no. You got to keep on watering your dream. And when it began to happen, they stopped laughing. They said, look, whoa, look here. Look how, hey, man, you know, I know you could do it. Look here, you got a job here? See, during those hard times, we didn't know how you're going to make payroll. During those times when you failed and things didn't work out, they were nowhere to be found. But you know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. And people know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard. Now that takes us to the next level. If it's hard, why do people do it? You ask people who do things, why do they go it? People who climb mountains just for the sake of it. Nobody paying them to do it, just do it. Somebody said, I'm going to run around the world. He said, why would somebody want to do that? I'm going to swim the Atlantic Channel. Why? Why do people do that? I wondered, why would a Nelson Mandela give up 26 years of his life? Why do people do that? Here's what I discovered in high school. High school, I decided I wanted to go out for football. Never forget this. And I discovered why people do things. You know why, ladies and gentlemen? Even though it's hard, it's worth it. It's worth it. See, one day we had Coach Alkin Hepburn had this plaque down there and this wood on the floor, on the ground. He said, Brown, come over here. Had my suit on. I said, yes, sir. He said, I'm going to have old Larry Littles down there. Old big Larry. Yes, sir. Big, fat, sorry Larry. Yes, sir. Brown, I want you to get down bull neck. Yes, sir. He said, I want you running Larry. I want you to put your helmet right in his pit, right up and hit his chest and knock him off that board. You hear me, Brown? You can do that. Yes, sir. Can you do that? Yes, sir. I said, hubba, hubba. I said, hubba, hubba. He said, Brown, I want you to knock him off. You're going to make the team. I know you can get him, all right? Look at him. How sorry he is. Knees knocking and everything. I said, yes, sir. And then he went down to Larry. Larry Littles, who played 12 years for the Miami Dolphins, all pro for 12 years. This is a bad, big dude. 250 pounds, strength, agile, and all muscle. He said, Larry, he said, man, you know Brown down there. He's down there talking about your mama and everything. He talked about how fat and sorry you are and how he's going to knock you off this board. Larry now spitting fire and growling and foaming at the mouth. And I'm looking at Larry saying, oh, hubba, hubba. He said, look at that fool down there growling. He told me he's going to scare you that you're going to leave. Are you going to leave? No, coach, I ain't going to leave. Go down there and knock him out the park. Boy, coach got back. He winked at me. Go get him, Brown. I went hard. I ran into Larry with my helmet. Larry said, boom. I don't know where I landed. When they woke me up, I said, can y'all take this helmet off me for a minute? I said, y'all got any more positions out here? They say, like where? I said, don't y'all need an announcer? They said, Brown, where you going? I was crying. They said, man, some girls over there. I said, I don't care, man, I'm hurt. So that fool almost killed me, man. He said, Brown, you quit, man? I said, yeah. I said, what? I said, it ain't worth it, man. No, it ain't worth it. Y'all go ahead. Y'all crazy. I'll be your announcer, man. I was calling the game. I was up there in the booth. Called good games, too, because the pain wasn't worth it to me. And I'm saying to you, you know why people do what they do? The people who go after that stuff, what makes it worth it? It's got to be your passion. You got to love it, ladies and gentlemen. You got to love it. It's got to be what you are supposed to do. You want to sing, and even though they won't invite you to Carnegie Hall, you're going to sing to anybody that listens to you, including singing to yourself. I used to talk to my plants when nobody else would listen to me. You got to write, even if no one published your book, write, because that was given to you to do. You do what it is you're supposed to. You're supposed to build something. You're supposed to create something. I don't know how to do it. Learn. Do whatever is required. Just go out there. It's possible you can get what you want. It's necessary. If you want it, you got to go into action. You got to be willing to experiment. You got to be willing to fail and to succeed. You got to be willing to form and to develop new relationships. It's you. It's on you. You got to make that happen. Nobody's going to bring it to you on a silver platter and say, here's your dream manifested. No, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. It's difficult. Yes, right. And it's worth it. People ask, hey man, these kids, man, it's rough dealing with them. That's right. That's right. You think peer pressure happened overnight? We went through peer pressure. I remember as a kid, some guys said, hey Les, me and another fellow named Willie Lower, we were going home. Hey man, we're going down to Gould's, man, and knock off a grocery store. I said, look here, I don't want no part of that. I'll see y'all later. Say, y'all chicken. I said, that's all right, you say whatever you want. Low star. I'm not chicken, man. Don't call me chicken. Then why don't you come? We didn't even ask you to come into place, man. All you do is just drive the car. That's all. I don't know how to drive that good. Well, we're trying to get Les to come. He's chicken. Hey, I'm not driving nothing, all right? Willie, don't care about what they say, man. Leave him alone. You want to go do it? You find somebody else to drive, or you drive yourself. Come on, Willie, man. Pull him, he stop. I ain't chicken. All I got to do is drive? Yeah. I said, Willie, that sounds simple, man. Don't go, man. He went. And the next day we read the newspaper where when they robbed the store, when they came out running to a car, the merchant, the man who owned the store, came out just shooting wildly, and he hit the driver in the head. So peer pressure didn't just start in the 90s or the 80s. It's difficult and it's challenging for kids right now. And it's going to take some easy, simple methods to help bring them out of this madness, this insanity? No. Is it hard? Yes. Let's look at what we've been doing. What has worked? What has not worked? Let's look at where we want to go. What is it that we want to produce? What is it that we want to create for our young people? And as we think about that, start experimenting with different methods and techniques to create and to produce that. And begin to believe that it's possible through our commitment, through our vision, through our determination, our relentlessness. Because of our belief, it's possible that we can reduce the teenage homicide rate, the teenage pregnancy rate, the dropout rate, that it's possible, looking at what kind of world are they going to be in. As we look at the global economy, that as we begin to use our collective will and genius and resources, it's possible that we can create an educational system that not only will test their minds with information and facts and figures, but will teach them how to think and be creative, and what does it mean to be a human being and to value human life, and how do you make relationships work? How do you bounce back from adversity? It's possible that we can give them a curriculum that will give their lives a sense of purpose and direction and meaning, and teach them how to begin to know and operate on a higher level of being, where they become assets to our society rather than liabilities. What if we leave here with that kind of consciousness that it's possible, as opposed to saying we have to write this generation off, that it's possible that we were born for such a time as this and that, that maybe someone here has the idea or the method or some plan of action or an approach that can resolve many of the problems that we're facing with young people today. Whatever we have to do to save our children, it's worth it.
So life is full of distractions. And so I want you to think about, what are your goals and what is it that you see for yourself in and out of the pandemic? You just saw video. Here I am, 77, just a few months ago, about 3 months ago, I connected with my birth family. and to see a picture for the first time of my birth mother and father. This thing called life, it's just so unpredictable. And so that in the middle of all the stuff that we have to do, and the things that you have to do in terms of your personal stuff, in terms of your business and the people that's a part of your team, and all of the unexpected distractions that we just don't see coming. This is a very challenging time. And what we have to do and know is, first of all, we have to have a program for ourselves to handle what's going on. And I want you to write this down. When things go wrong, don't go with them, because they're going to go wrong. That's going to happen. And so having a strategy, a game plan, a ritual to train your mind to observe things and not buy into the things that you see, that's major now more than ever. This is no time to lose it. And so when we look at all the conflict and all the things, the confusions and the violence and the spike in suicide and politicians lying out of their necks every day and say, don't believe your lying eyes. You say, come on. This is a different kind of place. And so this is a time that you have to begin to focus on you. This lady, she was working in hospice and she was interviewing patients who just had a few weeks to live, about 2 months to 3 months. And she asked them, what do you regret about your life? And the majority of them said that I wasn't true to myself. That I wish that I had done the things that had been true to me. It's been said that most people die unlived lives. They die a life that's not them. And so I started examining, where am I now and what am I to do with what I'm going through, just with one of my children who's bipolar schizophrenic. How do I handle that? I called Fav and said, hey, I need some help. Do you know anybody that can help me? Because here I am, can motivate people around the world, and my son, look like I made him by myself, can't hear my voice. So that's very challenging, and it's very humbling. So part of what I want to share with you, develop a ritual for you. I'm the fix-it person, but I had to begin to anchor myself in the words, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can't change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And if that wasn't enough, I'm at Cancer Centers of America last week, and they said, Mr. Brown, we know we gave you the Perseverance Award for 29-year prostate cancer conqueror. But we see something here, because I just said, let me just check myself out and see how things are going. And they said, your white blood cells are low. We've not seen this. And I remember reading a book called Who's the Matter with Me? And what I realized, that the shift that has taken place in my health that I'm now proactively dealing with, it is a result of stress, that I was allowing the stress, dealing with my son, dealing with the business and all my children and all of the things that I just have to deal with, no, excuse me, not have to deal with, that I get to deal with. I want you to write this down. Operation Clean Slate. Come on, somebody. Well, I'm coming for you right now. I started saying, wait a minute. A lot of stuff that I had on my plate, it wasn't my stuff. And so I decided Operation Clean Slate. I started getting stuff off my plate, my children, my brothers and my sisters and friends. My mother had a sign, my adopted mother had a sign on her mirror, and it read, "Oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business." Now I understand. I want you to write this down. We live our lives forward, but we understand it looking backwards. Now I understand what Mama meant, because I was putting my nose in a lot of business that was not my business. Operation Clean Slate. So you have to sometimes stop, look, and make an assessment and ask the question, what am I to do with this? Where am I going? What's going on with me? Who am I really? Who have I been being? And I have been being Superman or Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. It's Mighty Mouse. He's on his way. I said, no, I resign. I can't even call Superman to help me out. You know why? Because they eliminated the telephone booths. He can't even change clothes. I told him not to remove those telephone booths. He's not gonna risk being arrested for indecent exposure, taking off his clothes in a telephone booth. Now that's not an option. So, so here we are. And we have to deal with this stuff. And so number one, you gotta be true to yourself. You gotta have a ritual to take care of yourself. And you know this. And it's very important. And sometimes we need to be reminded of what we know. I'm getting still, and I'm reading the Bible, the Torah, the Kabbalah, the Holy Quran. I'm reading everything. When they said, Mr. Brown, your PSA, which stands for prostate specific antigen 2,400. Wow. And I say, whoa. But guess what? I got it down. I got it down to below 0. Then it went up to 4. And so I'm working on it again. But what I know is I'm minimizing the stress in my life that I brought into my life. I take responsibility for where I am and this situation. That's an opportunity to prove my discipline and my commitment of making choices that I would be here, and at 77, making the rest of my life the best of my life. And I know that many of you have decided in this mastermind, that's where you are. And because we can't do it by ourselves. And so building mental resolve. I get up early in the morning, listening to things to fortify me, to begin to strengthen myself mentally and emotionally and spiritually. Here's something else. As you begin to dig in and start thinking your life, rethinking it and looking at yourself, why is that important? Because this is a new space that requires a new skill set. Einstein said, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And so Les Brown had to say to himself, hey, look here, if you do the same thing that got you here, that won't serve you in this new space where we are. So self-awareness is very important. Am I being me? Am I being true to myself? Am I doing the things that I need to do to keep myself on the path to do the things that as I go forward where I am an asset to my family and not a liability? Here's something else. Whatever your goal and dream is, I can share with you based upon my experience, it's possible and it's necessary. You got to decide, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this happen. But not just that, but also who you have to be in order to do that. Because at the end of the day, and you know this, being with Fab, that people don't live life as it is. You live life as you are. If you're not playing with a full deck, if you are not getting a full night's sleep, if you don't have the clarity of mind to make good decisions that will serve you and your team and your family, that's going to be challenging. You become a liability. As Jim Rohn said, is your life a warning or is it an example? A warning of not to do or an example of what to do? So taking care of yourself. And I want you to write this down. Live your life, and this is where I am. And I really want you to put this someplace that you can see it. Live your life the way that you want to lead your life. I was talking to a room of entrepreneurs, and I asked them, if you knew you had just a few weeks to live, what would you do differently? And I was surprised that the majority said, I would quit my business, and they start thinking about things that they were going to do. And here's what was fascinating. There's a young lady in there named Pauline Ahi. Pauline was born with no arms and no legs. And so as I was passing her table in this training I was doing, someone said, did you hear what Les said? Write down the things that you would do differently if you knew you just had a few weeks to live. She said, yes, I heard him. And what most of them did at the table, they talked about quitting their business and start traveling and just doing a variety of things. And what she said, I would continue to be me. And when they heard her say that, these people who had written out all the things that they had taken on and all the things that they said that they would step away from, they begin to rethink themselves. And I asked also the second follow-up question, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing right now? Pauline did not have one thing on her paper. No arms, no legs, married with children. And they asked, you gotta have some problem. You don't have no arms. You don't have no legs. That's gotta be very challenging. He said, I don't have no challenge. I find a way to live life on my terms. Whoa. That's major. She said, I've set my life up, my environment, the people in my life, the things that I'm doing. There's nothing that I'm doing that's outside of what I want to do. I'm doing the stuff that's me. I'm being true to me. That's some lesson in that. See, if I knew I had a few weeks to live, I'd do more Zooms and give more motivational speeches. I told my kids that they tell you I'm dead, don't let them embalm me for 3 days. Sneak in there and put a microphone in my head and my hand in the morgue. And if I don't grab it and say, you gotta be hungry, you call your brothers and sisters and say, Dad's gone. Yeah, but, and if my casket give me a microphone and some Colonel Sanders chicken, I'll be fine. This thing called life. So just determining who are you now and who is it you need to be for this vision that you see of yourself, because life is very challenging. It's sometimes up, sometimes down. Sometimes things go well and sometimes they don't go so well. It's a roller coaster. And so be true to you and decide the things that you envision for yourself, the reason that you're there, the goals that you've set, the relationships that you're building. Make sure that it represents who you are and the things that you envision. You got to have a mindset that I'm going to do this, just like we got started out. Some stuff happened. It's called life. Think it not strange that you're faced the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might. You will have tribulations. Here's something else. Determine what is it that you really want. That's major. What do I really want? And when I started practicing, and I got this from a friend of mine, business partner, Celeste Johnson, Operation Clean Slate, I took a lot of things off my plate and I'm focusing on doing those things that's in my heart. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also. Spending more time with my children and my grandchildren and my 4 great-grandsons. And so when you look at the things that you want, creating special moments, it's been said, is not the number of breaths that you take, but the number of breaths that takes, the number of moments that you create that takes your breath away. And that's what I'm looking at and focusing on. I remember when I read this article about Howard Hughes, who at that time was the wealthiest man in the world, and they were trying to rush him someplace on an airplane, and he died. And someone asked the question, how much did he leave? And somebody answered, all of it. And so when we look at ourselves, we got to ask, what's really important? Making a decision, and this time that you're there to rethink your life. What's necessary for you that you want to do before you check out? I remember being at Caesar's Palace, and Frank Sinatra was at a table seated next to me, and at that time I was married to Gladys Knight. I was the conductor of the midnight train. Come on now. I was one of the pips. I was the conductor. Come on. And I heard him say to a young man, live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. And so now I want you to write this down. And this is a biggie for me right now. A friend of mine, Samantha, and I said, how you doing? And she sounded so bubbly and so happy. I say, what's going on with you? Why are you so bubbly and happy? And I haven't seen you in a minute. She said, well, the reason I am, and I'm like this every day. And I said, why? She said, this is a non-refundable day. Whoa. I don't have time to be depressed and stressed out. It's non-refundable. I'm going to make the best of it. I hear you talking about making the rest of your life the best of your life. She said, that's real, because each moment, each day is non-refundable. I reminded myself that every hour, the time that I invest, the conversations that I have. I won't take a phone call unless it's positive, unless it's purposeful, unless it's productive, unless it's going in the direction of where I'm going. I'm not just going to give my time away. I'm 77. No, homie ain't playing that. I'm going to lead my life the way I wanted to do something more meaningful and make a greater impact. I still have some more in me. Simba, you're more than that which you have become. I still believe, and I'm sure some of you believe, that you still have some more in you, that the best is yet to come. Here's something else. Your why. What has driven me and caused me to become the person that I am was I wanted to take care of my adopted mother. You know, my birth mother, she gave me life, but my adopted mother, she taught me how to live life. I feel like Abraham Lincoln has said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. And Mama, she was always engaged in life. She was always looking for ways that she could do something differently. It was not unusual for us to come home and Mama, as small as our house was, that she had reconfigured the furniture in the house. And I remember one time coming home and there was a big window in the living room leaning up against the wall. And I said, Mama, why do you have this window here? Well, they tore this house down and you say you're gonna get me a home. Well, I got this window, so if you're gonna build me a home, I got a window that could fit. I said, no, man, I'm not gonna buy a home that don't have windows in every room. Come on. And she most certainly accelerated me to getting the home that I promised her that I would get for her, but she had the vision saying, I'm going to participate in this and what you're going to do. I'm going to do my part. And so what reason you're here, you've decided, hey, I got something else I want to do. You've got some bigger goals that you want to achieve. And write this down. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I got 3 brothers, 2 that I didn't know. And they look at me and say, whoa, how is it possible? You're just like our birth mother, and you didn't know her. And our grandmother, and you didn't know either one, didn't see them. How is it possible? And you're just like them. And the reason is, one, they didn't have any goals beyond their comfort zone, and still don't. And they're fine with that. And that's okay. And the other thing is that people say, well, it's in your genes. No. I remember spending a whole day with Maya Angelou, and Maya Angelou said, it aggravates me when people say I'm a natural communicator. She said, show me a natural heart surgeon. She said, no, I'm trained. And so if they put in the effort and the time like you're doing to get training and upgrade my knowledge, my relationships, expand my vision and dreams, I would be living just a non-consequential life. I didn't want that. The reason you're there, that you want to make a greater impact with your business, with the people that you're working with, to bring out the best in them, but also be the model, not just the messenger, but the message that you want to bring out the best in yourself, to challenge yourself. Iron sharpening iron. That's why you're there, creating collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. That's why you're there. You know there's something in you that says, this is not just it for me. There is more for me. People can be distracted by what's going on in Ukraine, by what's going on with the virus. But as for me, I know that this is my life right now. There is no duplicate, and I want to maximize it. Give yourselves a round of applause for reaching for your greatness. Do that right now.
You talk about this in your book. Before you went on stage to present to 80,000 people. That's probably pretty nerve-wracking for most people. What was going through your mind?
First of all, I ran to the bathroom 7 times. And they called Mike Lee and said, listen, Dexter Yeager is stalling. They need to bring Les up now. So I'd locked myself in the restroom because the guy said, what is it like to speak to 80,000 people? I said, I don't know, I'm here for a banquet room here. And you show me where the banquet room? No. Are you Les Brown? I said, yes. He said, come over here a minute. And he said, look over there. Yeah? That's who you're speaking to. There are 80,000 people waiting for you to come on stage. I said, oh my God. I took off. I said, I got to go to the bathroom. I said, but it's number 1. There's no... So Mike came, and they said, I could hear them saying, go get his mentor. He'll listen to his mentor, because they were knocking on the door to come out, and I wouldn't come out, you know. I said, so they say, Brownie, what's up? I said, Mike, I can't hear the voices. I said, what? I said, I can't hear the voices, Mike. Brownie, you're scared, aren't you? I said, yes. I said, it's 80,000 people out there. I've never spoken to an audience that large before. He said, Brownie, are you listening to me? I said, yes. He said, they're waiting to see you. You're not waiting to see them. You got a message for them. This is your moment. I said, I can't think, Mike. I just can't think. I've been trying to pull it up. I can't think. My heart is beating fast. He said, Brownie, do it for your mother. You know how she's going to feel to say, my boy spoke in the Georgia Dome? Do it for your mother. He interrupted my thinking. I said, don't use my mama on me. You know I don't play the dozens. I go to the store, I get 11 eggs. And no, I don't get a dozen eggs. I just get 11, you know? So he said, come out, Brownie, and make your mother proud. And when I came out, I was walking toward the stage, and it's the importance of having someone who know you, better than you know yourself. He said, Brownie, you got this, man. I said, I do, Mike? Yeah, they will never forget this. I said, okay. And when they gave me the microphone, something said, the fear just left me and said, I could hear his voice saying, you got this. And I looked at the audience, and to me, all of us have been in situations where we go to a place within ourselves and we surprise ourselves. How many of you have ever had moments you say, I can't believe I did that? That's exactly when I've never seen the speech completely because I'm very critical of myself. But I said to myself, my heart was beating. I said, he said, I got this. He said, I got this. And so I started watching and listening to them as they were listening to me. I want you to write down, listen to the listening. A lot of people, when you have a memorized script, you got to pay attention to what you have memorized. But if you got a framework in which you can go, it's possible, it's necessary, it's you, it's hard, it's worth it, it's done, then you can put stories and quotes and statistics and humor and passion and energy within that and be able to master the audience and command a standing ovation and transform people's lives. And that was the first time that I earned six figures after giving a speech, but I spoke for T. Harv Eckert, Seminar of the Century. I think that's a more powerful speech. It sold $410,000 worth of products.
I was there.
Oh, so you saw that?
Oh yeah, I spoke for 10 minutes there. That was it. But yeah.
I learned from my mother when they said to her at the M&M cafeteria, Mamie, I'm so sorry. You can't do this work anymore. Being on your feet all day long. I know you're giving it your best effort. But Mr. Morrison, who loved Mama very much, it's just too much for you now. And he gave her a check, gave her a bonus, and just said, we're gonna have to replace you. And I learned something from my mother when she came home. She was ironing, and she sang to herself. My mother used to sing at nightclubs, but this one song when she was ironing and preparing us for school the next day was one of her favorite songs. Fly the ocean in a silver plane, see the jungle when it's wet with rain. Just remember, darling, you belong to me. I used to love to hear her sing that song. She would always sing that while she was ironing. And then she got an idea. She said, wait, I'm not working at the M&M cafeteria anymore, downtown Miami. I can find out neighbors who need some ironing done, and I'll iron for them, and they'll pay me. I'll find neighbors who would like to have a sweet potato pie. I'll bake some sweet potato pies and sell slices of sweet potato pie for a dime or a quarter. I'll cook for them. And so what I learned from Mama, she didn't miss a beat. When you got a goal, when things happen, when there are interruptions, when life has been snatched out from under you, don't miss a beat. Find a way to restart your life. Find a way to do something else. See, one of the things that allowed me to become successful as a speaker, people ask me all the time, and sometimes I would vary how I respond. How did you get here? How'd you overcome the odds? What did you have to do? You know, one of the things I did, and I want you to keep this in mind, be stubborn about your goals, but flexible about your approach. I had people with PhDs and MBAs, and we would walk around this big park in Detroit, talking to each other about our goals and dreams, and something happened. I looked at them because of their credentials, because of their education, because of their college training and corporate experience. And you know something? They quit. You know why? They knew more than me. So sometimes you have to be intelligently ignorant. Based upon the approach that we were using, we failed at making a breakthrough. So they gave themselves a limited time, looking for a sign. If you want to create something, is there something that you want to do, you got to give it some time. A watch pot never boils. You got to give it some time. You've got to be willing to put in the work, and if, particularly in multi-level marketing, you don't want to raise your hand and look to see how well you're doing for a minimum of 2 years. When a home is being built or a building, they spend a lot of time on just the foundation. And so they stopped showing up for our walk. And pretty soon, I found myself walking by myself. Let me share something with you. When you have goals and dreams and you're going in a certain direction, that it's lonely at the top. You're going to find yourself in certain situations by yourself. I can tell you this. They stopped coming out to walk with me, and they went back looking for a job. That was not me. That was not an option for me. That's a non-negotiable. No! I'm going to speak. I'm going to find a way. So you have to be stubborn about your goals and flexible about your approach. And so when it didn't happen as soon as they wanted it to happen, they stopped. I kept going. And that's what you've got to do. Don't stop. Keep going. That's what my mother did. She lost a job at the M&M cafeteria. She couldn't stand on her feet all day long, every day, because of arthritis in her ankles and in her knees. And so she didn't miss a beat. She started ironing and washing our neighbors' clothes and baking sweet potato pies and cooking for some of them. Don't stop. Stay busy. How did you know, Mamie, you can raise 7 children by yourself? I just believed the Lord will make a way somehow. And I'm saying to you, if you keep going, if you keep looking for a way, where there's a will, there's a way. If you keep moving, if you keep falling forward, if you keep getting back up, something's going to happen. Bob Marley said something I like. He said, you never know how strong you are until being strong is all you have. You never know how strong you are until being strong is all you have. It's your only option. And you'll discover, if you don't panic, if you don't run, you'll discover you are stronger than you give yourself credit for being. Don't surrender. Don't give in. Just keep moving forward. Stay busy, moving in the right direction, looking, opening doors, knocking on doors, finding a way out of no way. And here's something else. Because you don't know what to do, so what? Figure it out. Everything that exists at one time, nobody knew what to do. I remember as a kid, we would say, oh, you got as much chance doing that as a man going to the moon. To illustrate the impossibility of that. We don't say that now. Somebody figured it out. Somebody said, wait a minute, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. And as you look at yourself, look at your goals, you might be experiencing a big setback. Your business has perhaps been devastated by the coronavirus. You just saying, my God, first of all, that's a blow. when you have to let people go and you don't have money to pay the bills because the business has been interrupted. Oh, we can open up and people can come in, or we have to close down. And then you say, wait a minute, opening up, all right, and I want my business, but I'm not willing to die for my business. Got to figure out another way. And this is this place where we are. That many times in life, when you're faced with a God-ordained opportunity, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges, a lot of people give up. They surrender. They run with their tails between their legs. It's a God-ordained opportunity. There are opportunities here in the midst of crises. 3 types of people going to come out of this: millionaires, billionaires, and witnesses, people who stood around and watched. You have something special. You have greatness in you. And whatever, no test, no testimony, whatever is in front of you, you have the power to handle it. But I don't know what to do. Okay, got that. You don't know what to do. Figure it out. You don't have to know what to do. Walk by faith and not by sight. Figure it out. Everything that exists, somebody was willing to put in the energy and the time to figure it out. Everybody. When John F. Kennedy in 1961 called his cabinet and they came in a room and they were going to decide, how can we beat the Russians to the moon? Werner von Braun, one of the most brilliant German scientists of that time, he looked at Werner, what can we do to beat the Russians to the moon? And Werner said 5 things. Everybody was prepared to start typing. This is before computers. Everybody was prepared to take a lot of notes. Everybody was looking for a long lecture that would take hours to determine how much staff and how much money, what the budget will be, what's the process. Everybody was, but they were set up for that. They went there, it was like a retreat, a mastermind.